Next, we have Joanna Ko, who enjoys reading books, good books, traveling, and long walks on the beach. She won't be talking about any of those things. She's going to give us a talk that's going to try and expose us to the plight, I guess, of some of our marginalized peers. So here's Joanna.
Thanks, Kelsey, for the awesome introduction. Really appreciate that. My name's Johanna. It's really great. I had a chance to meet some of you guys. You're really awesome. Good to see some familiar faces back. Speaking of familiar faces, I'd like to tell you about a friend of mine. Let's call her Jasmine. She's 17. She really likes creepy movies. I remember watching Pan's Labyrinth and Coraline with her. Yeah, not a good idea. Messed me up. She also likes coffee. I don't know if you could call it coffee, though, by the point that she brutalizes it. She'll take it as vanilla bean, caramel spread, chocolate shot, Java chip, whatever, as it can get. It's basically sugar in a cup. She's also homeless. Over 100,000 people in Edmonton are homeless. Of them, 41,000 of them are youth. That's about roughly 1 in every 3 people in this room right now. And all of them your age up to the age of 24. And that's not a thought that often crosses the general population's mind. Like, that's not to say you're all cold-hearted people, although some of you are. But it's not something that crosses our mind. In the back of our heads, I'm sure we all realize that, yes, there are people who don't have shelter or stability, but knowing that and realizing that 41,000 of them are kids our age, our peers, and sometimes our friends, are two very different things. Our definition of homelessness might also need to have a little bit of readjusting too. For the instance, my friend, who we're calling Jasmine, she doesn't sleep on the streets every night. She couch surfs, so she doesn't really know where she's going to end up at the end of the night, but she keeps her fingers crossed that someone will open their home to her. There was a study done by YouthWorks from 2006 to 2008, and that there are homeless youth, up to about 80%, who don't live on the street, and they're called the hidden homeless. Just because you're homeless doesn't mean that you sleep on a park bench every night or in an emergency shelter every night, but sometimes it does. They also concluded that street-involved youth have a very different experience of homelessness than adults, which is obvious. So obvious sometimes that I think that it's a fact that's often overlooked. Youth, I think we can all agree, especially us being youth, need stability. We need structure to be able to sometimes act out or act within, to find who we are and shape our own identity for ourselves. A lot of kids don't get that because they don't have the stability and the structure to discover who they are for themselves. Jasmine is a unique individual. She loves creepy movies. She loves sugary drinks posing as coffee. And that's part of who she is. And I love her for that. But she's also homeless, and that's part of her reality. To be awkwardly honest with you, I haven't talked to Jasmine in about 2 years. I don't know where she is right now, and I have no way to contact her. And I don't want the kind of lifestyle she was living to continue to be her reality. The reason I'm talking to you about this today is that I feel like it's great. Everyone has their own measure of madness and their own measure of brokenness. Like, first one, I am a crazy person, and my life is far from perfect. But having to worry about where I'm going to sleep, having to worry about not being in school and trying to find things to do, she was telling me her stories, and having to be surrounded in a lifestyle that is constantly exposed to abuse and addiction is not something that I have to worry about. And I don't want to impose on her story, but she shared it with me. And I think that it's something that maybe we should start worrying about together. We can offer support and structure. We can offer help. Sometimes it's honestly a friend. Sometimes it's kids in your school. Sometimes it's a total stranger. And that's the thing about homelessness, is that it's an individual problem. It's an individual reality, but it's also collective reality shared in our city, in our neighborhoods. So at the end of the day, you've heard a lot of talks. There's some awesome people who've come up who've shared their story with you. I had the opportunity to share a friend of mine. Her story is something that's shared by 41,000 youth in Edmonton. So today, I hope that I took 2, 3, 5 minutes to kind of get this thinking in your head. And hopefully, you can come back to it. Spread the news with your friends. The Edmonton City Youth Council did a documentary called Through My Eyes, and they followed the lives of 4 homeless youth in Edmonton. I'd like to say, if you want to continue the conversation, go check that out. It really opened my eyes to stories that weren't just Jasmine's. And it also helped me realize that while youth homelessness, as I said, is an individual struggle, it's an individual reality, it's also a collective reality, and one that we need to be a part of. So please continue the conversation. There are many ways to get involved, and I know that you have very busy lives, but even just thinking about it, spreading the word, creating talk that creates opportunities, that create action, that's what we need. Thank you very much.
Joanna, that was great.